Okay, we're here today with Vickie Slade of Real Estate of the Rockies. Welcome, Vickie.
Thank you, Steve.
And Vickie is going to share quite a bit of information with us today. I'm pretty excited about this meeting. We're going to talk about a CMA, not to be confused with the CIA, but it does involve information about your home. And Vickie's going to tell us how that fits into the overall process if you decide to go for sale by owner, or if you decide to use the professional services of a real estate agent, what they're going to be doing behind the scenes to help sell your home. So that'll be one of the things we talk about, as well as Vickie's going to give us some insight as to her thoughts on why you should or shouldn't go for sale by owner, and some other things that we'll throw in along the way. So without further ado, Vickie Slade, and what we're going to do is we're going to first talk about what is a CMA. So, from my part, we've introduced to you the steps of the for sale by owner salesperson, and one of them is creating a value for your home. This is actually part of the overall preparation, but coming up with a value because it actually is one of the most important metrics of the sales process is what's the correct price for me to be asking for my home. So, Vickie has nicely enough offered to, for all the people who sign up for the FSBO Platinum service, will actually do a free CMA, and she's going to tell us about how she does that, some of the new fandangled tools that they have to do that. So I'm going to let Vickie talk about CMAs.
Okay.
Take the floor, Vickie.
Take the floor. Well, first of all, what is a CMA? It's called a competitive market analysis, and it's a very broad term. There's a lot of things that go into doing an effective CMA to really be able to price your home correctly. We look at sales data, we look at homes that are currently on the market, we look at homes that have sold over the last period of months, whatever period we want to look at, and we put that all in the mix, so to speak, and we do graphs and studies, and then when we get down to the finer points of a CMA, where we're actually comparing to specific houses, then we look at what are the differences in the houses. One house may have been updated, maybe the other hasn't. One may have granite countertops, the other one may not. Somebody may have added a nice patio under the back of their house that the other house doesn't have. So there's a lot of, you have to look at all the variables that go into pricing your home and what makes it more desirable or less desirable than your competition.
One of the questions that I often get when I'm doing mortgages for people and they're getting ready to have the appraiser show up at their house is, what specific things can I do real quick to make my house more valuable? Well, yeah, I know from talking with many appraisers, cutting the lawn and that type of thing is probably not going to add value to the house. But there are some simple things that you can do. What are some of the best things that you would recommend to people to kind of improve their value before they come up with the value?
Well, things that are obvious that the appraiser is going to see as well as anyone walking through your house is it all comes down to how your house looks. I mean, you need to clean it, not just your regular, normal, weekly cleaning, but you have to thoroughly clean your house and have your carpets cleaned. You want all the handprints off the walls, you want nice neutral paint. I know everybody says, oh, let's get all this great new, warm, custom colored paints. Well, sure. Custom paint to one person may not be custom paint to another person.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right?
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And some people get a little too custom. They get a little bit, too crazy. They go with bright colors and reds and blues and really strong colors that some people have a very either instant liking to or instant dislike to, where they'll walk in and they just have an allergic reaction to a particular color. As an example, blue, some people don't like blue because they feel like it makes the area or the space feel very cold.
Interesting.
And so there's all different sorts of things with colors, but that's a whole other thing. But so back to Steve's question, a thorough cleaning, and if you have a little bit of time where you can get the paintbrush out and the paint roller out, a good fresh coat of paint is always a good idea. Okay,
let's go back to the subject of a CMA. Let's say that maybe I've already made the decision or I'm still trying to make the decision on whether to go for sale by owner. But the starting point for me is I want to know, what am I going to get for my house? I've got a mortgage I've got to pay off. I may be buying another home and want to know what my down payment can be. Is it a good idea to get a CMA right off the get-go? And if so, what would you do to start that process? Kind of walk me through what it is that you do behind the scenes to come up with a CMA.
Okay. Well, I might back up just a little bit. For people who decide to sell their home on their own are going to go to sites like Zillow and Trulia and similar sites to try to come up with a value, and they'll go, oh look, my house is valued at this amount on Trulia, or my house is valued at this amount on Zillow. And you have to keep in mind that those ranges that are on websites such as that are very broad. They don't go down into the nitty-gritty detail. And
if I can interrupt here for a second, Vickie just gave me a great idea. So when I put Vickie's video up in this section, I'm going to go ahead and list some of those sites. And I will echo exactly what Vickie said. I actually had one home that on Zillow came out exactly what a professional appraiser who appraised the home was. They were the exact same value. Every other one has been so far off that I don't even know what they came up with as a starting point. So there's maybe a rough value there, but I really think that a CMA is something that's much more of a detailed and refined look that's going to give you a more exact value that probably somebody in the marketplace is willing to pay for your home.
Correct. So, and most people are wanting, obviously, to get the best price you can get for your home. But they fail to remember that the market changes from day to day, week to week, month to month. And what you may have been able to price your home at a month ago may not be the price that you should price it at today. A lot of it has to do too with how long you're willing to stay in your current home, how long you have to sell your home. I mean, you can afford to price it a little bit more aggressively, or I should say higher, if you have more time to work with. If you need to move, you need to sell your house, you have another job opportunity you're looking for and you're wanting to sell it quickly, then you really have to price aggressively. You really have to know what your competition is doing. Okay. So what we do is we look at a whole variety of things. One of the first things that we'll do is look at the homes that have sold preferably within the last 3 months.
3 months, okay.
That's the best. And we'll look at the size of the houses, not just the homes that sold, but things that are more likely to be direct comparables, if you will, to your home. And then we'll look even more finitely. We'll look at number of bathrooms, square footage, does it have a basement, does it not have a basement? If it does, is the basement finished? And even if it's a finished basement, there are different levels to having a finished basement.
Sure.
If you have a homeowner who finished it, maybe it's not quite the same.
Yeah, finished does not mean throwing the carpet down.
As if you have a professional come in and finish your basement. Then we'll also look at what we call the success rate in that 3-month period of time. How many homes were actually for sale during that period of time? Where were they priced? Where were the ones that sold priced? And how long did they take to sell? Did they sell in a week? Did they sell in 2 weeks? Did they sell in 120 days?
Sure.
That sort of thing. And then we'll look at the failures. We'll look at the homes that were offered for sale during the same period of time, but for whatever reason they didn't sell. Typically it's price, condition too, but typically it's priced. And we can start to see patterns. You know, any homes that were priced up here didn't sell, and any homes down here sold really quickly. Well, maybe we want to be somewhere in between.